Hello, welcome back if you're joining us from Sewing Street, or welcome to Yarn Lane. My name's Vicky. We've got 1 hour to do a huge masterclass on crochet. Now, I am completely new to crochet. I say completely new. We work on our sister channel, Jewelry Maker, and I've done crocheting with wire before and with monofilament, but Yarn Lane is almost 6 months old now. I think we really need to get our crochet hook out, Kat, don't we? And these projects are so inspiring. I saw them on the Facebook page yesterday and straight away thought, this is my cup of tea. So I know the book is backed by popular demand. Rebecca Reed came in especially bright and early this morning at 7 a.m. so she could talk to me before the show because she is so in love with this book. We were going along and she was saying, look, and you can make these outfits and you can do this. These crochet animals, it says, may be wild, but it doesn't stop them from being very well dressed indeed. You've got 10 adorable crochet chums, each with all with their own wardrobe. And basically, because they're all the same size crochet animals, so look, you've got some really cute ones in here. The lion's gorgeous. There's the elephant. They all mix and match with their outfits as well. Now, loads of you have already taken advantage of the pre-order option on the website, but of course, if you haven't yet bought it, don't worry. You can still jump in and get it on the phone line. Remember, it's a different number to Sewing Street, but it's the same customer service team. So you'll get through to them on the customer service team number, which is 0800 4700 600, or shop with us online at yarnlane.com. Everything is on pre-order. The kits are already selling as well. But look at how amazing all of these are. And the accessories are brilliant. So you've got your monkey wardrobe where you've got the hats, you've got the jackets, you've got the shoes, you've got the accessories, the handbags. Look at these. Now, I will speak to Vanessa about your skill level, but I know that when I was talking to Rebecca about these, she says, these are suitable for beginners. You absolutely can do it, which is so exciting, isn't it? Because they just look awesome. Plus, you've got all of your patterns, every instruction. The value for money is great, isn't it? £12.99. So you've got 5 different pairs of animals in here. So you've got pandas, lions, you've got zebras, you've got elephants, and you've got monkeys. And also, of course, they are the best dressed animals that there is. So we're looking at Barbara and Cyril today. I like that they're all named. They're over with Vanessa, and they are absolutely, look at these. They're gorgeous, aren't they? They've even got, this is so cool. So Rebecca Reed, she's so funny, you know what she's like. She was going off on a tangent and she said, I was going to do the panda and the zebra, but then I realised they were in swimwear and I didn't think, you know, it's not warm enough yet for the swimwear. So I've gone for the different ones. You can imagine her actually saying this, can't you? So I've gone for the straw hat and the basket instead of a bikini. For the telly. So absolutely, there's so many amazing accessories. I mean, look at all of the different shoes that you can make for any of the animals. Barbara's bunny slippers, you've got Ada's shoes, Roger's trainers. Oh, we did lose a slipper this morning. We were all panicking round. We were running around. Look, Jeff's got his gym bag ready to go back when the gyms are open. We've got the sun hat, Peggy's sun hat. We're going to be talking about that. Look what we've got in one of the kits to make your basket and your sun hat. Absolutely perfect. So we absolutely love this. I didn't realise there was a rubber ring. There's a rubber ring and a hammock. There's Peggy's flowers in here. So many amazing accessories. Plus then it will go through all of your basics, how to get started, lots of images, lots of descriptions. Can you tell? I am very excited about this book. We say we understand now why Rebecca Reed was so excited about this, so I hope you managed to get it. It's just £12.99. So to go alongside this book, we've got 2 kits, which I think we were really shocked by the value for money on this, actually. You've got such incredible prices attached to it. So in your kit, you've got enough yarn here to make both the elephants and their accessories. So the elephants, have you seen the picture of them? They've got their little hot water bottle, they've got their little blankets, they've got their pajamas, dressing gown, little pillow, little blanket, little shoes, slippers. They're amazing. So these are all 100-gram double knit yarn. They are absolutely super soft to work with as well, really luxurious, for £19.99. Absolutely love it. Brilliant for your toy making as well, absolutely brilliant for your toy making. Come on in and say hello to us, or if you've got any questions for Vanessa today, then we are on the Facebook Live as well. I've just managed to open it. So if you want to come in and say hello to us, then you absolutely can. So you've got your white, you've got grey, you've got two of your different shades of pink, like a pink and a mauve, a blue and a grey. For £19.99, that is brilliant value, isn't it? We were really shocked, kept saying, hang on, these are only £20 and look at how much you can make. So we've also got a second kit. The second kit, and remember you need your book separately. Do make sure you're checking out on the book because that's very popular. Now the black and white obviously are going to be brilliant for your panda, your zebra if you want to make the zebra. Now you can either do a zebra and a panda, or you could do two pandas, you could do two zebras and all of their accessories. So you've got your coral, you've got your green and you've got your blue to do all of the accessories. And sorry, how could I forget? You also have, now I don't even know what this really is. We'll talk to Raffia. We'll speak to Vanessa about working with this and the differences with working with Raffia, or, you know, if you can still crochet with it exactly the same way. Oh, Elliot's saying, I've heard Raffia's really lovely to crochet with. It's £19.99 for your whole kit. Now that's the only one, this is the only kit that comes with the Raffia. So do make the most of that. I hope I'm saying that right. Plus you're getting your coral, your black, your white. Vanessa's nodding at me, so there you go. Avocado, this one's called, and your Atlantic blue. Right, is there anything else that I need to mention? Just before we say hello to Vanessa, we've also got some of the safety eyes. We've got these ones which look like they're brown. Oh, I love them. So they've got different colour pupils. The other ones are completely black, whereas these, you can see they've got the different coloured eyes and then the pupil as well. 99p, that's it. And these are your safety eyes. You get a pack of 6. And then we also have black. If anybody's watching us from Sewing Street, remember it's 1p&p across both websites. Stock up on these because we never get the chance to do eyes. In fact, I don't think we've stocked eyes yet. You could have them for your dolly doorstops, not doorstops, draft excluders, couldn't you? 99p for the black. I like those ones with the colour pupils. They look great on the crochet project. Now the book is back by popular demand. The book, very popular last time. It's back and it's £12.99. And the kits, I believe, are brand new today. Do make the most of those. Okay. Hello, Vanessa. It's lovely to meet you.
Hi, Angie Vix. How are you doing?
Lovely to meet you. Very well. And it's nice that you've met Delphine just then in the green room.
I know, that was fab.
Yeah, random connection. Small world, isn't it?
I know.
Because Vanessa's only local, you see. Vanessa only lives in Stratford, which is down the road from where we are. So these, we're talking crochet today.
We are Crocheted Wild Animals.
How long have you been crocheting for?
About 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So are these something that, you know, somebody who is relatively new to crochet can have a go at?
The most of them are made up with the very basic stitches. So you can, if you can work your way through just normal double crochets, because the book's all in English in UK terms rather than US terms, and the back of the book is absolutely chock full with every single stitch, right from picking the hook up, making a slip knot and working it through. It's got pictures, it's got descriptions.
Is this classed as aragurumi because it's three-dimensional?
Yes, that's just the posh term for toy making.
Ah, okay. Nice.
So amigurumi, or crocheting toys, it's very basic stitches. I'd say 80 to 90% of what you're doing is just the very first stitch. The smallest stitch holds the stuffing inside because it's a nice small tight stitch. And if you're willing to have a go, the patterns on making toys can sometimes look quite daunting.
Okay.
Because you open the book up and you've got lots of instructions. But that's because it's going absolutely point by point, every single line, so you can't go wrong.
Oh,
the
great.
worst thing that's going to happen is you get a line in and you realise that that row wasn't right, and you can just take it back to your stitch marker and start that row again.
And this is what I like actually about crochet. With knitting, you could be doing rows and rows and rows and not realise that you have a hole until later
It's
on.
so obvious straight
Whereas
away
with
with crochet.
crochet,
You can see it if there's a gap where there shouldn't be a gap. And because there's so many pictures in the book as well, you're going to spot it when you're referring back to it.
And so they're all the same size, aren't they? So you
They
can mix and
are.
match their outfits.
Yeah, so the body shape, the legs and the arms are all absolutely identical.
Okay.
So you could make the dress, Maisie's dress,
Yeah.
and you could pop it on the elephant.
Right.
Or, whichever way you decide to go. When I made Jeff, our zebra, his trainers are actually from Roger the Lion.
Oh, brilliant.
His set comes, his instructions say to make him some little leg warmers,
Yeah.
but they touch the bottom of his shorts, and I decided that he could do with some trainers if he's going for a jog, when he's allowed out and about, back to the gym again. So you can just mix and match. I've still got his leg warmers as well, but you can just pick the bits of wardrobe that take your fancy.
Oh,
So-
and it really brings them to life,
It does.
doesn't it? I love them.
And even with making the zebra, I made the zebra and the panda, and I've still got loads and loads of yarn left over.
Oh, fantastic.
In the colours, so I could go through the book and I could pick a whole heap of wardrobe.
Oh,
My
brilliant.
kids have already been flicking through the book. I want that one for that one and that one for that
Oh,
one. So I've got
brilliant.
plenty more to make when it goes back.
Fantastic. Right, so what is it that you want to show us today?
So I was going to go through some of the basic stitches that
Yeah.
are covered in the book, and then I was also going to go through some of the bits that I've not covered in previous toys. There's some stitches that make the details in some of the outfits
Oh, brilliant.
really nice. So the bottom of Barbara's dress and the bottom of the panda's dress have got a shell stitch on,
Okay.
which is really, really simple but looks really
yeah,
effective.
it looks really effective.
So I thought I'd start with just going through the really basic couple of stitches to start
you
with.
just come slightly to your right, please.
See, I told you I was going to drift towards you, didn't I?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
So I'm going to work across this piece that I've already made up and show you a basic double crochet, which is what all of the main parts of the body are made of. So if you can see across the top line of this piece of work, you've got these tiny little V's. Can you see a little
Yeah.
across there? So to
V's.
work your stitch, you're going to go into both parts of that V, and that's going to go through your stitch. So for a double crochet, all you're doing is going through that stitch, yarning over and pulling through the stitch, and you've got two hoops on your
Yeah.
hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through that, and that's your first double crochet made.
Right.
So to make most of these, you're just going to be going over and over the same stitch in the amount of stitches that it's shown in that row.
Does it matter what size hook you're using for this?
The book recommends a 3.5.
Okay.
And that's to make sure that your stitches stay fairly small. If you went with a massive hook, you'd end up with big gaps in between your stitches, and the
Okay.
stuffing could
Yeah.
be so, because when you're stuffing them in, you're making it nice and tight,
Yeah.
so that they're nice and stiff. You don't want especially with the black, you don't want the white stuffing to be showing
Yeah.
through. But you could, if you're finding that you're really struggling. Some people, when they start to crochet, they hold their yarn really tight and they hold everything very tight, and you end up with really small stitches. And
Right.
if that's happening to you, you can just go up half a hook size or a hook size
Okay.
until you find something that's comfortable with you.
Right.
And again, you can refer back to the book to get the texture, the idea of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world if you have to change hook sizes at all.
Oh, brilliant.
You might end up with something that's a little bit bigger, but if you're
It doesn't
making all
matter.
of the animals and all of the accessories, they'll match back. The
Yeah.
gauge is going to be the same through all of it,
Oh, brilliant.
which is great. You're going to find with your normal double crochets as you're going along, the most common thing they're going to ask you to do is either increase or decrease, which is going to form the shapes of your arms and your features.
Okay.
So with the trunk of the elephant, you start off with a couple of stitches and you increase up, and then it's the same all the way. Then you increase out again, up the face as you're going. And an
okay.
increase is literally just the same stitch you've just done into the V.
Just come to your right again, sorry.
I'm
Thank you.
drifting. So you've gone in, I'll start that one again. Gone into the V at the top and started your stitch, but instead of finishing it, you're going to finish it, and then you're going to go into the same stitch again and do another one. So you've just done two stitches in the same stitch
Right.
below, and that's the basic
Increasing.
increase. When you're decreasing, you would do half a stitch, so you're yarning over as if you're about to finish a stitch, and then you'd move to the next stitch, do the same bit. So you've just pulled those 2 stitches below into 1 stitch.
Right.
Which is all that it is for an increase and a decrease in crochet. They're actually really simple.
So Derek, that probably answers your question. Derek's just put on Facebook, it looks fascinating. Is it suitable for a beginner?
Yes, it really is. As I said, if you're happy to have a go, pick it up and read through the instructions. Worst that you're going to do is pull a couple of stitches back and start again. You're not left with great big gaps. The whole thing's not going to unravel. You know, even if I pull back a couple of stitches, I haven't done any damage to anything that I've done in the rows below. Yeah. So you can just keep going. So yes, I would definitely say I'd have had a go. Yeah. Right at the start.
Oh, I love an adventurous beginner.
And then another thing that it asks for later on in the book, I don't know if you can see on Jeff's top, he's got quite a funny little detail across his top, and it's that
sort of chevron. I love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through that in a minute, where you do the colour work through it. But it is really going to be really difficult to see through there.
Oh, come on, let's see.
Yeah,
we can see that.
He's got sort of a stripe effect, and that's because it's only working into the back loop only of a stitch. So the dropped front part of your stitch creates that little lined effect that you can see across the top of his t-shirt, and it's as simple as where you've got your 2 V's on the top, you're just going to go through the back one. You're not going to go through both pieces, you're just going to go through the back and do your stitch exactly as normal. And all that does is it drops that front part of the stitch to create some texture.
Oh, nice.
It's really simple, but it creates a really nice pattern
really
later
effective, on. Really effective.
So some of the things that I was going to go through are some of the more detailed bits in the book, which again are covered in the back, picture by picture, step by step. I just thought I'd show them.
Yeah, great.
On the pyjamas of the elephants, you use a surface slip stitch. Right. So you crochet the whole piece of the pyjamas, and then you add the detail later. And it is just a case of going through, so you can see a little line on the back. That's the detail on the back, which is quite nice and neat. Isn't it? Yeah. But the main part of the pattern is on the front.
Okay.
So to surface,
I'd never know how to know which is my front or my back. Is there a difference?
When you are working in rows, like I have done here, the front and the back are going to look exactly the same. Yeah. Because when you go backwards and forwards, you're creating the same pattern on each side.
Right.
When you're working in the round, I've got a piece here that I've done in the round, you have a side which you can see sort of little lines downwards, which is your right side, and then on the inside, you see that if you compare them next to each other, can you see it's got the lines going across?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's your wrong side.
Ah, okay.
But because it doesn't actually matter in these. If you wanted to turn them over, you could. If you prefer the texture on the other side, it really doesn't matter.
Looks very neat. You're very neat.
I do try. I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I try and keep it all looking as nice as I can. So I was going to have a show of this surface slip stitch. So I'm going to put on the book. It tells you between which rows you need to do them to get the right pattern.
Yeah.
And you will find there's some little gaps in between your stitches that you can just poke your hook through, and you're bringing up. Let's get the end.
Just come slightly to your right again. Sorry, to keep
so you've just pulled up a loop inside onto the right side of your work, and all you're going to do is in the next stitch along, push the hook down and pull your yarn through, and then slip it through the loop that you've already made. And when you do that a few times, you start to get, I've come off my hook.
If you drop, that's good to show though, because if you drop it, how do you pick it back up?
You literally just put your hook straight back through it.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through a couple of times, and the more you do, so you pop through the hole, grab the yarn underneath, pull it through, and through the loop again. Can you see you're starting to get that little pattern? So, and you can people use this for all sorts of things. If you've crocheted yourself a little bag or a t-shirt or something, and you want to put some detail on it afterwards, it's a really nice way.
Again. So
I've just gone through to the back, grabbed the yarn that I'm holding at the back, pulling it up, slipping it straight through the loop that I'd already got.
That's so cool, isn't it?
And again, you know, if you go wrong, you suddenly realise that you've drifted off, you can just unpull a couple, start again. Or you don't have to, you know, you can just do a couple of stitches and you can pick up the hook and get straight back on it.
Oh, nice.
Which is quite nice. But it gives such a, on the front of the pyjamas, it gives a nice raised effect, and you haven't had to keep changing colours the whole way through. And talking of changing colours,
I know lots of people get scared of changing colours, don't they?
you don't need to. It's not, I mean, I don't know what it's like in knitting, but I find it quite nice and easy in crochet, because you can cut the yarn each time if you want to, fasten it in and start completely again. But on things like the elephant's nightcap, because you're not going to see the inside of it, you can actually carry your yarn. If I turn it inside out ever so slightly, I've just carried the yarn in between the ones that are in between each of the layers. So I'm just going to show.
So this is different. The other one, it would be over the top of your crocheting, whereas this you would do as you go.
Yes, because that was detail you're adding afterwards. You're doing it over the top, but this is changing colours. So you could use this for the zebra's arms and head. And it says about using it in the cap to minimise the amount of times that you have to cut the yarn and pick up a sewing needle and weave the ends in. So to change colours this way in crochet, just grab my loop. So you do the stitch before you need to change colours. You do a normal double crochet, but instead of finishing by yarning over and pulling that colour through, you drop the colour that you're working with and pick up the colour that you need to add and just grab the loop of that and bring it in.
And what happens to the pink one? Does that
literally just stays there for the whole round. So I'll do a few stitches and then I'll swap again. So you can carry on doing your double crochets round. In these, you'd do a round of the white and then you'd drop it and pick the pink up. I'll just show you again. If you'd got round to the end of the white, you just pop your white down, pick up your pink again. So, sorry, you need to start a stitch with the white. And then when you've got to the point where you've got the 2 loops on the hook, you can drop it, pick your pink up and finish the stitch in the pink and carry on with the pink.
That's so good, isn't it?
So you end up with a really seamless change, but you run these lovely neat pieces up inside.
And then how do you tie them? How do you finish them?
So when you get to the end and you finished your piece, I normally cut a couple of inches of my yarn and I'd thread it onto a just one of the big yarn needles, and I would weave it in the back of the piece, just in between some of the stitches, so that it's nice and tight. And then you can cut your little end off, and then it's not going to come loose when you're washing it or when the kids are playing with it. The great thing about this yarn is because it's acrylic, it's so easily washable.
Oh, really?
If you're making kids toys, you want them to be able to, if they're getting muddy or messy in any way. So acrylic's great for washable.
Oh, fantastic.
So.
There was somebody who was asking, was it Elaine earlier on, sorry? Elaine had a question about stuffing your toys.
Yep.
She says, have you got any tips on stuffing? Because it's a part that she always dreads once she's done all of crocheting, is then stuffing it.
Yeah, especially with their arms and legs, I tend to find, I use the blunt end of my crochet hook to get it right down into the bottom. And I stuff it nice and firm. But if you get to the point that you're starting to make the stitches gap and you can see the stuffing, you can just take a little bit out.
Right.
But it is just a case of packing. The first time I made a toy, I made the mistake of just sort of shoving a load of it in, and then it was really difficult to make it firm at the bottom. And so starting at the bottom, pack it in and work it up in layers. So take it in smaller pieces.
Right.
And just, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for your message, Elaine. If you've got any questions, get them in. In fact, there was another lovely message that was put on the Facebook post that was from Sue, and Sue's just said that you explain all of the stitches very clearly, really well.
Oh,
and that she really loves these animals. They
are absolutely gorgeous.
They are. You'll love them. Lots of the book, by the way, have now gone. £12.99 is great value for money as well, isn't it?
It is. But for what you get in there, I mean, it's not only the amount of the animals that you could go back and make. Once you've had the kits and you've made your zebras and pandas and your elephants, you can always go back and try all the other animals as well. It's not just limited to the extra wardrobe that you're going to find in there.
Oh, nice. Now, I'm being told it's a new book that hasn't been on air. I don't know whether Rebecca said to me earlier that it had been on, but maybe she got confused. And yeah, I think it's new. Kat saying it doesn't look like the graphics have been run through. So there you go. If you do want this, I think it might be brand new as well, as far as we're aware. £12.99. I think way over half the stock's already gone, just so you're aware. If you have got it in your basket, please do check out as soon as you can. It's not just the zebra, the panda and the elephant. There are so many different toys in here that are all adorable, and the kits are going to work for lots of the accessories as well.
And you can make them again and again. If they're going to make amazing presents for people.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was going to ask as well, how is the raffia?
The raffia. Do you know, I had never worked with raffia before. It's the first time, so I was really quite excited. And I've always looked at it and thought it's going to be really rough and really difficult to use.
Did you make the straw hat and the basket with it? And they look amazing, Vanessa.
And they are, and because it holds its shape really nicely, because the raffia is.
I'd like a life-size one of those.
I'm thinking with what I've got left, I might have a go at making a little sun hat for myself.
Yeah.
But I was a bit daunted, I have to say. But it is, you use a slightly larger crochet hook, but it is just as easy. Everything's exactly the same. So I'll make a little slip knot even with that and get it on my hook.
Right again, sorry.
I'm terrible, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be silly. This is the one that comes with the panda and zebra kit.
Yes, so there's the basket and then the lovely sun hat on there. It is, you're just yarning over and pulling through the stitches, excuse me. And I've left the right size hook at home. It's supposed to be a 5mm, which is why I'm slipping all over the place. I've got a much bigger hook than I needed for this. And you're just going to crochet with it as
normal.
Yep. So you can do your chains with it. You can do any stitch the same as you would with yarn. You just need to.
Yeah, it's a lot softer to touch, isn't it, than you think?
I was expecting it to be really sort of. Cardboardy, really stiff, but it holds its shape so well once you've made it. So yeah, a little beach bag for myself and a little sun hat.
Yeah,
but I really enjoyed
working
with it.
I'm very jealous of all of these the animals' wardrobes. They've got a better wardrobe than me.
I know. I really like the. I did make a monkey's hat because I really like the little cap that the monkey had. So I made that. I made one of those for Jeff as well.
That's so cute, isn't it? Just because you can.
Left some holes for his ears because his ears were in a different place.
It's so cute.
And it was really clever because you just cut a little bit of cardboard to put in the peak to keep it nice and stiff.
Nice.
So raiding the recycling bin.
And look at the little ear holes and everything for the little ears.
So it pops on his head and his ears go through. But making all of the little accessories, and they're all the attention to detail in the patterns for the accessories is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but like you said, all of those detailed stitches on the front of the pyjamas and the jumpers. It's lovely.
I loved making his T-shirt. And it's actually another way of carrying your colour because you have to change the colour so often.
Yeah.
You actually carry the yarn underneath the stitches that you've made. So I was just going to show that.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I'm just going to work a few stitches in the green. I can get my loop up. So I've got, if you can see, I'm coming this way.
Thank you.
I'm trying to work across here in the green and I want to carry the white underneath the stitches so that when I get to the white section I can pick it back up again. So instead of dropping it behind, you'd end up with an awful lot of the left pieces in between it at the back, and it could get quite messy when you're trying to pull it on the animal. The nightcap, the dropped pieces of yarn aren't a problem because you're just popping it on his head. It's not going to get in the way, but when you're trying to get it over the zebra's head and his arms, you don't want to catch the pieces of yarn. So you are just going to hold the white piece behind. When you go through the V's of your stitches underneath, you're also going to just have the white yarn underneath it. So you're just literally crocheting over the top of it.
Right. So you're not actually looping the white yarn at all?
So and at the back, you may end up with some bits poking through, but when you get to the end of the section, you can just give them a little tug.
Okay.
And they'll tidy up again. So, and then you do the same when it comes to changing the colour. The next section I need to change to white, so I can swap that one, finish the stitch, then put the green behind and carry on. and do the white section. So just to do a couple of stitches and then show that you've got your little seamless colour changes at the front, and it's lovely and tidy at the back as well. And you can just go along there. So that's another really nice way of changing colour.
Yeah.
And again, explained step by step with little pictures to show you, all in the back of the book.
Fantastic.
Which is fab.
Yeah, it is lovely that you've got all of those basics, and the pictures I'm going to show you on the basics at the back here are really thorough. So there's diagrams, which, to be honest, I actually prefer to photographs. I like to see a photo, but sometimes, depending on the yarn and the different colours, it's difficult to see, isn't it, exactly what's going on? But because there's diagrams and photographs,
and it shows you the definition side, the sides of the stitches that you're going to need to look at really well with those graphics pictures rather than the photos.
Yeah.
So as you say, sometimes if the yarn's a bit fuzzy, it can make it a bit difficult to see.
Yeah. And did you say it's UK terminology or American?
It is all UK terminology in the book.
UK, brilliant.
Yeah, but she does have a conversion chart in the back with all of the information. So if if you have crocheted before but you're only used to working in US terms, you can easily see the way to flick them across.
Fantastic.
The UK term.
It's a nice one to just dive into your yarn stash, isn't it? And to make all of the different accessories.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could just have the two, whichever you choose. You could have your two pandas, and you could have an entire wardrobe from the whole of the book.
Oh,
to mix and match. You might have to make a little wardrobe to hang them up in.
Oh, we love them. Absolutely love them. There's so many different, and you would have to change them with the seasons, wouldn't you? Like Rebecca Reed said, still a bit chilly maybe for the swimwear, but I do love the fact that they've got, look, the little swimming cozies. They've also got ready for when they're going on holiday. They've also got their rubber ring. They've got a hammock. Oh my word, they are the fanciest crocheted animals, aren't they? They really are. Amazing. Right, so what is it that you're showing us next? Sorry,
I was going to show the shell stitch, which is used at the bottom of Barbara the Giraffe's nightie and at the bottom of the dress that's on the panda, just because it's a really nice little stitch. I use it quite often to edge a blanket. If you're making any little blankets, it's a really nice little stitch to end at the end. So I've done a couple, I don't know if you can see on the top of this little swatch. So can you see they're like a little beautiful little fan.
I suppose once you know how to do that, you're going to learn so many transferable skills in this book.
Yes.
That then, even if a jacket doesn't call for the shell stitch at the bottom, you can just always add that on, can't you?
If you get further in and you decide that every one of the dresses that you want the shell stitch on the bottom. The monkey's dress is beautiful. She's got a little granny square as a pinafore. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, you could add flourishes all over the place, make them your own, which would be fab. So a shell stitch is I'm just going to do that. You're going to do one double crochet that we've already covered, and then you're going to miss a stitch and go to the next stitch, and you're going to do 4 trebles. So a treble is you yarn over before you go into the stitch and go through your V, yarn over again, so you end up with 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, come through 2, and yarn over and finish the stitch. So that's a treble crochet, and you're going to do another 3 of those. So yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through the other 2. And you're going to then miss a stitch again, so you've had a stitch on either side of those trebles, and you're just going to do another double crochet here, which pulls the double crochets at each side, pull the shape down to make that sort of fan shape that you've got. Nice. So you can go all the way along and make the edging of the bottom of the dresses.
Scalloped edge. It's
really
so
pretty, and it's so simple. It's just 2 stitches. So I'll do another one just because I like doing them. So 1 double crochet, skip a stitch, and then 4 into the next stitch. 1.
Yeah, I'd definitely be adding this to every blanket and cushion and all sorts.
It is such a lovely thing to edge blankets and cushions with. It's so simple, but it looks really, really detailed. Skipping the last step, and 1 more double crochet to fix it into the layer. So you've got
Vanessa, that is so neat again. How do you, is that just through practice, doing lots of it, or?
I think so, yeah. I think it is. I think all of the stitches come with practice. Everything is the first time that you do it. I'm still learning stitches now. I did a pattern test for a shawl last week that I finished, and there were 3 or 4 stitches in it that I'd never tackled before. And I find it really exciting to have a go at something new. Nice. And you have a go, it doesn't look quite right, doesn't match the pictures, try it again. But it is, the more that you do, the more confident you become, the quicker you can get at it as well. The only thing with toys versus blankets or shawls or something like that is that you want to make sure that you keep counting when you're doing your rows. Okay. You want to have your stitch markers at the beginning of a row. Okay. Because I've done it before, when you're working in a spiral like all of these are worked going from the bottom and worked in a spiral continuously. If you haven't marked the beginning of a row and you do find a mistake, trying to find where to get back to the beginning of the row, if you haven't marked it, you could end up unravelling the whole lot.
So stitch markers are
really useful. Are your friend. They really are, because if you've put them at the beginning, for example, this piece here, that's my beginning of my row, so I'd marked it so I knew that when I get all the way around again, because it can all look the same when it's in the spiral. Right. So you always know that that's the beginning, and you can count back from that stitch marker to get back. So stitch markers are my biggest beginner tip. Completely, is always. Just
generally, if you're working in a round, would you say more so than?
I tend to do it when I'm working like this, working in rows. I always mark my first stitch as well. So when I go back again, it's when you're working in rounds, you tend to have a turning chain to get you up to the height of the next round. And especially when you're starting, it can sometimes be difficult to distinguish which is your turning chain and which is the first stitch. So when you've done your first stitch, if you pop a stitch marker in, you're never going to accidentally overstitch and go into the turning chain.
It's not just for toys?
No, I use them in absolutely everything.
Fab.
Yeah, I've got stitch markers in every pot around the house that I might be sat.
Really useful indeed. Really useful for knitting as well. Really useful for both crochet and knitting.
Yes, definitely. You're going to use them. I'm not a
just
proficient.
$14.99.
Not proficient at knitting at all, but I definitely.
Can you knit?
I've tried. I've got a jumper that I've been working on for quite a long time. I pick it up, and I was fine going in the round when I just had to do the one knit stitch, but now I've split off for the arms and I've got to go backwards and forwards.
Oh, well, don't
blow my mind.
It is. I think it's very therapeutic, though, isn't it? I do find crocheting and knitting really therapeutic. Well, what was it that sort of drawn you to crocheting to start with then?
I needed a little hobby. I desperately wanted something. I wasted far too much of my evenings scrolling through Facebook and Instagram and looking at the things that other people were doing with their time and not doing anything myself. So I took a course. And it was more for the social aspect, taking the course. But as soon as I'd taken the course, I realised how many tutorials there were online and how easy it was to just have a look at something, have a go and have a play. Yeah. And a couple of years later, and I've got a hidden yarn all over the house.
And here you are, 2.5 years later on the telly, demonstrated. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. Another thing that I was going to show, if I've got time.
Oh yeah, plenty of time.
I was going to show, I've just got my little bits of paper, Cyril's beautiful blanket is a little granny square blanket. So I started one off and I was just going to go through a little bit of that, if that's okay.
Did you see Rebecca Reed's jumper today?
Oh, I know. Is she wearing one of Sam's?
Yeah.
Oh, I love those jumpers. They're so gorgeous.
She's been doing, she said that she did a temperature blanket.
Yes, I've seen hers.
So she's done it she used the leftover yarn from that, so she's done a temperature yarn.
Oh, wow.
Granny square jumper. It's amazing. Seeing loads on the Yarn Lane fan page recently, actually.
Everyone's gone mad for granny squares.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're such a fab way to start a few stitches, and they grow nice and quickly.
Oh, it's so in fashion, isn't it? It's really in fashion.
There were granny square bags a couple of weeks ago on here, weren't there? And they were beautiful.
So. I think I saw on Tom Daly's Instagram or something, he was doing...
How is he so proficient in everything that he picks up?
I know. Tom, if you're watching, you need to come on here.
Puts me to shame.
Honestly, he's brilliant, isn't he?
He is. So there's quite a lot of different ways that you can pick up a granny square. Some people do different amounts of chains in the corners. It just gives a different effect with the gaps that you've got in it. But the basics of them are 3 clusters, 3 trebles in a cluster, and then a gap, and then the next lot.
Right, so where in the book is the granny square used?
The granny square is in Cyril's beautiful blanket.
Oh, lovely.
So it starts off, and again, if you follow the instructions, if you've been a bit phased about the idea of doing any of the lovely granny square stuff, you follow the instructions for this and you'll be off. You'll be able to have a go with everybody's granny square things.
I love it, absolutely love it.
So with Cyril's blanket, it says to each row you attach your yarn into a corner. So I'm just going to pull it through and do a little knot, which I'll weave in afterwards. And then you chain 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And what that does is it's counting as the first of your trebles in a cluster and then the chain space of the corner.
Okay.
So we're going to then miss these 3 and we're going to treble crochet into the next gap. So 1, oh, dropped it, so just pick it up again. My hands are terribly shaky when I'm on air with you guys.
Oh no! Oh, I hope you don't be nervous. We're all friendly. We have no idea what's going on. We don't know if you did it right or wrong.
I won't mention it next time. So 1 and another 1 and another 1. So you've made the first of your little clusters here.
Yeah.
And you're going to chain 1, which will create the gap for the next row. And you're going to go again. So yarn over into the gap, pull through 2 and again. So when you've made 3, you've made your next cluster. Just like that.
And what hook are you using for this? What's the hook?
Using a 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah, I use the same, apart from for the raffia, I use the same size hook for absolutely everything.
And is that what the book calls?
That's what it recommends.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so it's a really nice size hook for your amigurumi toys because it gives you a nice tidy small stitch. And then when you get to the corners, you're going to do, I don't know if you can see from before, there's 2 of these clusters of 3.
Okay,
separated by a little gap, which gives you the little turn for the corner.
Right.
So I'm just going to go 3 into the corner. It was the very first thing that I did on my course was granny squares. I turned them into a blanket that my daughter still carries around with her toys and wraps them in and uses as a picnic blanket.
So would you make lots of granny squares to do that and then stitch them together?
I did. I made them. They were probably, when this pink round is finished, it's probably about the size of that. And then I think I made about 30 of them.
Because I suppose you can just keep going out and out and out and out with a granny square, can't you?
You can do it that way. You can make them in a rectangle and go out rectangularly so that it's a different shape. There's so many things that you can do with them.
And it's got a magic ring in the centre, which you've got the
instructions for.
Yeah,
I can show you a quick magic ring.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. I'll just do the corner on this one.
Yeah,
so
you keep going.
2 chains to make a slightly bigger gap for your corner so that the stitches can go back into it. And then your 3 trebles again. And that is your corner made for the next round.
That's so clever.
So I'm going to pull that out and use this for the magic circle. No, I'm not, because I've tied it on. I'll go with another colour. These are all the bits that are left over from
so you still get lots left over.
So yeah, I definitely wouldn't have any trouble making all the other accessories that have been demanded of me.
Brilliant.
So a magic ring is when you are creating a little circle that you can crochet into that you can then pull completely tight.
Yeah.
You can control how you want it to look at the end. If you wanted to leave it with a nice gap in the middle, I like in a granny square blanket, I do like to have a little bit of a hole to start with, but you can pull it completely closed. So with the magic circle, I pinch the yarn between my thumb and my 2 fingers. I wrap it round once and then wrap it round again so that it forms a little kiss.
Right.
And you go underneath the front piece of yarn, grab and twist so that you bring up a tiny little loop, and then go under the yarn again, and you're going to pull it through that little loop that you created, and then you've got a circle.
Are there lots of different ways of doing this? Do people have different ways?
There are
That
people.
looks a really nice, simple way of doing it,
I did
actually.
YouTube a lot of different ways of doing it, and it's the one that came up that made the most sense to me.
Yeah.
And then all you would do was you could do your stitches into the middle. So I'm just going to do a few trebles, like in the granny square.
So do granny squares always start with a magic?
Yes.
Is it called a magic ring?
Magic circle,
Magic
they tend
circle.
to call it, yes. So they can start with a magic circle. Some people start it where they make a row of chains and then join them. But then once you've done that, you can't control the loop, the little hole in the middle. You can't do anything with it. Whereas with this, when you've done however many stitches you want, you pull on the tail of the yarn and you can pull it completely closed if you wanted to.
Oh, brilliant.
So she recommends this for the beginning of all of your pieces that are in a spiral, because once you've got your stitches in that first round, you can pull it completely closed and no stuffing's coming out.
Yeah,
You're not going to get anything neat in. It's really, really neat and tidy.
Lovely.
Whereas if you start with a slip stitch and you do a row of, say, 4, you could join that last stitch to the first stitch with a little slip stitch, but then that's just one circle that you've made that you can't control. You can't pull it any tighter. So if you wanted a nice gap in the middle of your granny square, you could do it this way. Can you see the little hole?
Yeah, yeah.
So you do your stitches into that,
Yeah.
but you're always going to be left with that hole
Okay.
at the end of it.
So if you are doing something that needs to be
the magic
stuffed.
circle for toys is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
The only other thing that she does differently to a magic circle is the ends of the feet. I don't know if anybody's got any feet on show that don't have shoes on.
They've all got their shoes on.
They've all got their shoes on.
You can take a slipper off if you want.
I don't want to lose a slipper.
Oh, I know, yeah, we did have a bit of a scramble around the studio looking for the slipper
So I
yesterday.
don't know if you can see on the bottom here.
Yeah.
It's actually worked in an oval to start
okay. Yeah.
with. So she's got some really great descriptions.
Hang
for
on, just take that off, sorry, again. There we go. Thank you.
So it's not, so you're working a line of stitches and then you work around both sides of the stitches, which is a really great way of getting that oval shape without loads of complicated.
So
I could have shown you the bottom of the slipper because it's worked exactly the same way.
Yeah.
After taking her shoe off.
It's nice to see though that you can, this is the great thing about them, is that you can full on accessorise and change their outfit. So bedtime, put the pyjamas on.
When the zebra's tired, he can borrow the pyjamas and go to bed.
That's it. It's great, isn't it? They all mix and match.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I've loved making them.
Oh, they are gorgeous. And in fact, Emma, I know that the author of the book, actually, I think she's coming on the show soon. I know she's in discussions with Rebecca Reed and is going to be, fingers crossed, going to be joining us on the show soon as well, with a different book. Definitely make the most of this whilst you can. If there's anything else you want to show, we've still got 5 minutes.
Okay, shall I show working in an oval?
Yeah.
Would that be useful?
That'd be great.
So again, you're going to do a little slip stitch to get onto your hook. And the book asks you for this to do 8 chains. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And same as the tops of the double crochets that I was showing earlier, you've got a little V, which is each part of the stitch.
Yeah.
Normally, if you were working into a chain, you'd work across this top part of the V, and then you'd go up to your next row and you'd work along that way. But what you're going to do to go in the oval is you're actually going to work all the way around this piece. So you're going to work your first stitches across the top into this top half of the V, and then you're going to come back round and you're going to work into the bottom half of the V. So if I go, you're going to do 7 just normal double crochets. So into this top part of the stitch, yarn over, then pull through both loops. 3. And when we get to the end, sorry, wobbly hands again.
Not at all, you're very calm, really clear.
And then it asks you to chain 2, which is sort of like turning the corner at the top of your piece. So 1, 2, and I'm going to go along the bottom. So you've now got left the piece of the little bit of the stitch that we didn't work. So we're just going to do the same. We're going to do 7 double crochets along there. And I didn't mark my first stitch. my own rookie mistake there. But luckily I've done this enough times now that I know which one's the first stitch. 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then you're going to do another 2 chains to turn the corner at the other end, and you're just going to work in a spiral, but instead of it being round, it's going to be around the oval. So you've got your 7 stitches along here, and you just carry on line by line in the pattern. She's telling you, but you end up with this oval shape rather than a round shape.
So with the arms and legs and things, so that's how you do the foot, and then you're increasing or decreasing as the pattern suggests. Do you have to make all of the limbs separately and stitch them together?
Do you know what? That's actually something I meant to say earlier. In previous toys that I've made, you make your arms and your legs separately, and then you sew them all on up, and you really hope that you sew them on firmly enough that a little firm tug isn't going to take them off. With these guys, I've actually got sinister pair of legs here. You make your legs, so you've done your oval at the bottom, and then you've decreased just across the front here, which gives you that beautiful shape. And then when you get to this point, you actually start crocheting from the tops of the legs.
Oh, so they're all joined
it's
in.
all one piece. Okay. So you don't have to try, I've done it before, you stuff the legs as hard as you can. You've got stuffing coming out of the top, and then you can't manhandle them to fold them into the right place to get them onto the body. But because it's open, once you start, you crochet around and make their little knickers, because they've all got, I don't know if I'm allowed to show, they've all got their own coloured knickers underneath.
Hey, what are you on about, Elliot? You shouldn't be flashing them on the telly. There you go. They've got their little knickers.
Little pants underneath. So you crochet with the colour.
So they're crocheted in. They've all got their knickers that are crocheted in already.
Yeah, so they're you just crochet the whole thing together, and then when you work your way up the body, you get your arms and you go through the stitches of the arms, so you actually are crocheting them into the body piece. Oh, so brilliant. They're really firmly in. The only thing that you need to put on is the head. You're just stitching the head onto the body. Brilliant. Even the ears you crochet through. When I was making the heads, I'm going to grab her. You actually leave a hole in the head pieces for the ears. Yeah. And then when you can then put the ear pieces inside and stitch them through the stitches. Right. So that way you end up with them completely firm.
Oh, brilliant.
And you haven't got lots of pesky ends to weave in either.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, no, it's really well thought out to make it as easy as possible, and every single line has got the detail. Just don't be put off by the amount of lines there are in each pattern, because every single one of them is giving you really useful information.
Well, that's it. Like you said, actually, don't be daunted by how much text there is. Be grateful that there is a lot of text. Absolutely. As a beginner, sometimes they presume that you know how to do everything, whereas actually to be able to have literally point by point, row by row, exactly what to do is invaluable as a beginner, really,
It's a wonderful book. It's really, really good.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
That's okay.
When are you back with us?
I don't know. Rebecca's got a couple of things lined up for me in the pipeline, so hopefully it'll be soon.
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
And
thank you ever so much. We've loved today. It's been brilliant, hasn't it? Really inspirational, and hopefully it's encouraged lots of people to get into crocheting. Like you said, me and my producer Kat, we've been telling each other all through lockdown, look at my screen time on my phone, look how much I'm sitting scrolling. Yes. Hence why I said to Rebecca, right, get me some knitting needles, I'm going to start doing this now. But lots of people have said to me, have a go at crochet. I think you'll find that it comes together a lot quicker than you think compared to knitting. So if you do want to have a go at crochet, these are adorable, aren't they? Thank you ever so much,
No
Vanessa.
worries. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So the book, still available at the moment. It's £12.99. Loads of you have got it in your basket. Now is the time to check it out. Look at the monkey with his hoodie on. We've got I was going to say giraffes then. I don't think there's giraffes in here. We've got, sorry, Kat, to tease you. She loves a giraffe. Look, we've got Maisie the panda. We've got Sydney as well. We've got so many beautiful patterns in here, and all of the accessories that you can mix and match. Absolutely. We were looking today at Cyril and who was it? Cyril and Barbara. Cyril and Barbara. But you've also got lions in there, Good one to dive into your yarn stash. Just $12.99. It's definitely worth jotting down today's date. It's the 17th of March, and we've had lots of comments coming in saying how clear Vanessa is with showing all of her stitches. So it's definitely worth jotting down today's date and going onto the Yarn Lane YouTube page where you can watch back all of the shows and watch back today's demonstration. 2 kits that are available. Very, very popular indeed. So there was the elephant, which has been the most popular. You've got all of your yarn. So you've got 6 different colours, all 100-gram double knit yarn, which is super, super soft. There's lots of crochet hooks on the website. It was a 3.5mm crochet hook that Vanessa was using. Brand new yarn kits, especially today. And then very quickly, the final one, which is the one with the raffia as well. So you can make the straw hat and the basket. Go for it if you've never crocheted with it before. Neither had Vanessa until today. So do make the most of that. It's $19.99 plus 5 of your 100-gram double knit yarns as well. Do check out on the book. That is the one that I'm a bit concerned about. There's a lot of you who have got that in your basket. It's been amazing to have your company today. If you have been with us since 8 o'clock this morning, thank you for staying with us and spending your morning and lunchtime with us. When's Yarn Lane back, Kat? Friday, Yarn Lane is back. Do make sure you join us. I'm going to be live with you tomorrow morning on Sewing Street from 8 a.m. We've got Deb joining me, and we've got loads to bring you. So do make sure you join me bright and early at 8 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.